Now that 20 minutes is very critical for the customer as well as for the success of Ola. All of you are with me on this?
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
So do you think whenever I open an app, when Ola app says car will come in 20 minutes, do you think the car will come exactly 20 minutes?
No.
Right. And if you are a customer, how long you will wait for the car to come? 20 minutes car has not come.
With
Probably
the
will you,
acceptable standard deviation plus or minus 5 minutes.
yeah, probably like Magesh is saying, plus or minus sometime. Magesh is very strict. He said only, sir, I'll wait only for 5 minutes. Right. That means when it is more than 25 minutes, Magesh is going to cancel the car. Am I right, Magesh?
Yes.
Company is losing the business. Same way, if the car comes so early, it is a loss to company, isn't it? And loss to
Yes.
company, and car has to wait. And even customer also don't want the car to wait for him. So let me take the allowance on both sides. Whenever I order a car, no, I book a car, when the committed time is 20 minutes, plus or minus 5 is okay for me. Now, what are the specification limits in this example? What is upper specification limit here? 20,
25.
yeah, 25 is
25.
upper specification limit and the 15 is lower specification limit. If you get the car anytime between 15 minutes and 25 minutes, you will be a happy customer of Ola. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Right. So I think all of you are with me on the specification limit. So now I'm going to slightly amplify the tolerance, right? Instead of plus or minus 5, I don't want to be strict like Magesh. I want to be little liberal. I am giving Ola plus or minus 10 minutes. And now I'm writing here. 20 plus or minus 10 minutes is the customer tolerance. That means customer targeted time is 20 minutes. Ola has to take all measure to ensure whenever a customer books, Ola should be able to provide the car within 20 minutes. Or Ola also knows 20 plus or minus 10 is what the permissible limit of the customer. So 20 plus or minus 10 becomes the USL and LSL. And if Ola can provide the car every time within this time zone, all the booking will be successful, and Ola will keep getting more business. If it falls outside, then that will make the business go down. Hope this is clear to all of you.
Yes.
Yes.
Or you can also assume it like this. Maybe instead of 20 minutes, you can say 30 minutes, because always going beyond 30 minutes is a problem. So when the customer books a car for 30 minutes, Ola will try to see that the car is delivered in 20 minutes. In case of worst scenario, delays, still the car will be within 30 minutes. So USL is 30 and LSL is 10, because getting the car too early also customer don't like. So 20 plus or minus 10 meaning is understood. And now this is what I have visualized here. You can see the USL here in the graph. That is the right side, which is 30 and LSL is 20. Customer targeted value is, LSL is 10. Customer targeted value is 20. And now the specification width, which is nothing but USL minus LSL is 20. Everything is visualized here. And now you are hired as a consultant because you are a green belt, and Ola has hired you because in a particular pin code, Ola is struggling to meet this kind of order. Whenever the booking is within 30 minutes booking, Ola is not able to perform. Can you tell me, figure out the reason why such failures can happen? Because the number of cars operating in that area is less. Am I right? Or
Yes.
that area may be heavy traffic oriented and routes are not clear, or that particular area the GPS system is not working. There could be several reasons. So Ola is definitely really experiencing a problem. So they hired a consultant like you to study why they are not able to make every order a successful one. Lot of orders are getting cancelled. And now what you do as a green belt, you took the data, you collected data, particularly all data are related to the 30 minutes. Let's say you have so much data. For simplicity, I'm saying that you have 100 data. Now, what will you do with the data? How will you proceed to understand the problem? So with 100 data, I want you to calculate the average. 100 data means 100 data about the time taken by a Ola car to reach the customer is available. And now you calculate the average, and average is found to be 20. If the calculated average is equal to 20, is it a healthy scenario? The targeted value also 20, and when you collect a random 100 data, that is also 20. That means Ola has understood the customer requirement and they designed the process, and they have made the arrangements properly. They are because the customer, the process center is on the target. That's a healthy scenario, but it doesn't mean every time the car is arriving the customer in exactly 20 minutes. No, sometimes car takes extra more than 20 minutes. Sometimes the car arrives less than 20 minutes. You will be surprised to see while doing the analysis, most of the time you will see half of your data going above average and half of your data going below average. And these are all properties of normality, which you can correlate. And now with the 100 data, imagine you also calculate standard deviation. And I have simplified your job. What is the standard deviation here? 3.33.
3.33.
33. And now I want you to calculate the control limit. How will you calculate? You know control limit will be at a distance of 3 sigma from the center. Your center is x bar, which is 20. 3 sigma means 3.33 into 3. That is almost 10.
9.99.
Yeah, that is almost 10. So 20 plus 10, your control limit is 30. Similarly, the control limit on the left side is 10, because again 3 sigma is 10, 20 minus 10 is 10. Your upper control limit understood, lower control limit understood, your process width or process tolerance is understood. Upper control limit minus lower control limit is 20. Is that clear here? How did I calculate upper control limit and lower control limit? Fine?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. Now I want to understand how is my business going on. For that purpose, I am overlapping my specification width and process width. Specification width is 20, process width also 20. My process is centered perfectly on the target. At that point of time, I will see my control limit overlapping with specification limit. Everything is happening. Now, what is your understanding about control limit? When your data is normally distributed, 99.73% of your data are expected to be inside control limit. Am I right? This is our understanding.
Yes.
And now control limit overlap with the specification limit. That means 99.73% of my data are expected to be inside specification limit also, because both are same here. If you check the 100 car arrival time, in which 99.73% of the cars arrived within the specification limit. That means if 1000 bookings happen, 99.73% of the 1000 bookings will happen within the specification limit. This is a prediction I am doing. For 100, it is 99.73. For 1000, it will be 99.73% of 1000. For 10,000, it will be 99.73% of 10,000. So how am I predicting this? Because I know when the data is normally distributed within control limit, I will always have 99.73% of the data. If my sample truly represent the population, whatever property I'm seeing in my sample, I will be applicable to the population also. All that you need to do is you must collect the data without any error. Error can be two types. I'm repeatedly telling. One is measurement error, another one is sampling error. If you collect without sampling error and measurement error, your sample will truly represent your population. And now this particular process is considered capable. Why do I consider capable? My control limit overlap with the specification limit. Rejection is possible only when my points go outside the specification limit. But here, my control limit is only overlapping. So I will consider this process capable, and I will call it a just capable process. I will call it a just capable process. And now when I say just capable, the success rate is 99.73. Success rate is 99.73. And statistically, this process is called a 3 sigma process. Why do I call it 3 sigma process? Look at your specification limit. The red color line is the specification limit. Where is your process center? The green color line. What is the distance between process center and the specification limit? Is equal to
3 sigma.
3 sigma.
Exactly, right? Is equal to actually 10 units in terms of the time, but it is in terms of sigma, it is 3 sigma. And so I call this process a 3 sigma process. And now a 3 sigma process, the success rate is 99.73. Success rate is, you studied and you understood The success rate is 99.73. Imagine today in that particular area, Ola is getting 1,000 bookings a day. Ola is getting 1,000 bookings a day. Now tell me how many bookings will be successful out of 1,000?
997.
Very good. 997 bookings, Ola is able to make it successful. How many bookings are getting cancelled? 3
30.
bookings.
Three
3
bookings.
bookings are cancelled. And now tell me, are you happy with the way the business is happening right now in this particular pin code?
Yeah.
Looks good, isn't it? We are extremely happy because we are able to make 997 bookings successful. Only 3 bookings are cancelled. And now after 6 months, do you think Ola will continue to get same 1,000 booking every day?
No.
Yes, sir.
No.
No.
What will happen? What will happen?
It may
It will
increase.
increase.
It will increase. Suppose imagine 10,000 bookings started coming to Ola. Ola has not increased the capability. They operate with the same number of cars. They operate with the same number of drivers. Everything remains same. And now there are 10,000 bookings coming. Do you think the same 99.73 will be applicable?
No.
No.
No, sir.
What will happen to 99.73?
That will come down.
It will come down to 70 and below. It can even still become worse, isn't it? Please understand, whenever the demand increases, your capability has to be
Okay.
increased accordingly. Today you may think your capability is great, 99.73. My rejection is this much. So this is why process improvement, capability improvement is important. When the customer demand increases, suppose customer wants you to deliver everything within a day, you will lose all your capability. You will see a lot of rejection, and that is why higher capabilities are important. So 3 Sigma capability is also found to be not sufficient in a long term, but it sounds good in a short term, because in short term, what is your success rate? 99.73. But looking at a long term, consider long term means considering future demand. I am not happy with the 3 Sigma process. All of you accept my statement? Earlier, when I asked you how is the business, all of you said business is going good. But considering a scenario of higher demand, my business is really not having sufficient capability. So process improvement is important. So now I will give a nickname for this process, which is a 3 Sigma process statistically. I will call it an elephant process. Why do I bring elephant here? Only to let you understand. If you operate process like this, you need to understand you put a big animal, which is elephant, in a small room. Do you think if you put a big animal in a small room, it will stay calm and quiet for a longer time?
No.
Obviously, no. It is already a wild animal. It is going to break the room, because you have to always give some room for the movement. Whether it is a human being or an animal or a business process, there has to be some room for variation, some deviation. If you don't give that room, automatically your control limit will go beyond the specification limit, and damages will be much more than what you are experiencing as of now. Never put a big animal in a small room, right? And so higher capabilities are important. So how can I gain higher capability? By process improvement. Now Ola has understood. Now they started attaching more cars. They started training the drivers. They started doing many things, right? Now car cleanliness, everything they improved. And as a result, they are again able to maintain. You are again reconducting the study. Now again, you are the consultant there. You conducted the study. Again, average is 20. Average is not a problem. Earlier also average was not a problem. We have not complicated it. But standard deviation, now can you see a decrease in the standard deviation? Earlier it was 3.33. Now how much it is? 1.66. When you reduce standard deviation, you can understand you have improved your process. So how can I say my process improved? Now when I reduce the standard deviation, my control limit automatically will be pushed towards the center. Earlier my control limit was touching the specification limit. Now it is moved inside. And now let us calculate the control limit. Sigma is 1.66. How much is 3 Sigma? 4.98. Right? Approximately make it 5. So center plus 3 Sigma, 20 plus 5. Now your upper control limit is 25. Lower control limit is 20 minus 5, 15. And now 99.73% of the time, the car will arrive between upper control limit and lower control limit. All of you are with me on this?
Yes.
99.73% of the time, the car will arrive between 15 minutes and 25 minutes. But customer is ready to wait, no, up to 30 minutes on the right side, and customer is okay to receive the car 10 minutes after the booking. That means your capability is improved. Can I say like that?
Yes.
It is definitely more than 99.73. I'm saying that it is more than 99.73. I'm really interested in getting that exact number. Like Madam was morning, telling very important point. The necessity to go beyond 99. Already you are 99, but still I don't want to compromise on that, 1%. I want to go. Same way it is 99.73. I still wanted to, get that extra mileage, and that is what is happening here. And now what happens when in long term? See, now the success rate in short term is definitely much more. Success rate is definitely much more than 99.73. In long term, what will happen? The demand will increase. In long term, the demand will increase. And now in long term, generally, a process will undergo deterioration. If the process undergo deterioration, control limit tend to move outward, either on the right side or on the left side. It is statistically predicted that in a long term, a process will undergo a shift of 1.5. And now the position of your new control limit is here. Do you still have some tolerance on the right side? All of you are able to see?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that means even after my process deteriorates, why should my process deteriorate? I have done everything, systematically. I designed my process. But now my machines can undergo wear and tear. My settings can automatically change. My operator may change. My raw material may change. Some of my machines may become older, and always 1.5 sigma is expected as a shift. Even after the shift, I am seeing my control limit well inside the specification limit. And now your process is not only capable in short term, your process is also capable in long term. Why? Because I am accounting the long term shift also. Earlier, I told you my capability is 99.73. How did I know? How did I tell? I know from a standard normal distribution table for a JUT score of 3. For a JUT score of 3, the success rate is 99.73. Where from the JUT score comes? The JUT score is nothing but the distance between process center and specification limit. Now referring to the graph, can some of you tell me what will be the JUT score now? Tell me what is the JUT score here? Come on, please. Is it difficult?
Yes,
Hello?
sir. If you can just do a repetition again, it would be really great.
Yeah. See, JUT score means position of distance between the position of my center and the specification limit. How much it is? How many sigmas are here?
6 sigma.
Very good.
6 sigmas.
So my JUT score is 6. JUT score is 6. But I want to give room for the long-term deviation. In long-term, process will deteriorate by 1.5 sigma. So 6, I am reducing to 4.5. Now for a JUT score of 4.5, the success rate is found to be 99.999. We'll teach you how to get all these numbers from the normal distribution table. Now I'm taking the advantage of writing directly. So when my JUT score is 4.5, my success rate is 99.999, which was earlier 99.73. But this success rate is short term or long term?
Short term.
It is long term. Now imagine in a long term, short term Ola was getting 100 orders a day. In long term, imagine Ola start receiving 10,000 orders a day. So now how many orders Ola will be able to make it successful? 10,000 orders a day. What is 99.999% of 10,000?
999.99. 9,990.
I will say it is almost 10,000.
Yes.
That means failure has become rare. You have improved the process to the tune that failure can't happen easily. And suppose, imagine one day Ola started getting 1 lakh orders, and then now what is the success rate? 99.999. 99,999 orders will be successful. Only one failure happens. That means you have improved the process to the level that the number of failures is limited only to 3.4. We call it DPMO. DPMO means defects per million opportunities. Defects per million opportunities. Only 3.4 defects can happen when you produce 1 million output, right? And that is the kind of capability you have given to your process. This process is called Six Sigma process. A Six Sigma process in short term will eventually become a 4.5 Sigma in long term. That is why I used 4.5. Hope all of you now understand why I reduced 1.5. A Six Sigma process, no control limit is expected to shift by 1.5, either on any side. And as a result, your Z score will drop, capability will drop. But even after drop in the capability, what is my success rate? 99.999. And this is called a Six Sigma process. And statistically, this process is called Six Sigma process. Please note, it is doubly capable. That is why even after the deterioration, process still meets your customer expectation. You are making the failures a rare event. And a nickname for this process. Yes.
Excuse me, sir. One doubt, sir.
Yes,
What
please.
if you set the control limit for 1.5 sigma?
Come again.
What if you set the control limit for 1.5 sigma? 3 sigma.
All right. I understand. What you are asking is, instead of taking the control limit at 3 sigma, why not I take it at 1.5, right?
Yes,
All
sir.
right. See, if you take the 3 sigma point, that is called control limit. If you take 2 sigma point, that is called warning limit. Am I right? And when I come to 2 sigma, tell me what will be the success rate? We already understood the normal distribution property. For
Yes,
3
sir.
sigma, it is 99.73.
For 2 sigma, 95.45.
And so 1.5 sigma will be still lower, right? So generally control limit means it is 3 sigma limit,
3 sigma.
right? If you want to use 1.5 sigma, then you have to give a name for it and you have to make your company know about it. All right. And now this process, I'm going to give it a nickname. I will call it a giraffe process. Why do I call it giraffe process? When I reduce the standard deviation, my control limit is pushed inside. When I push the control limit further inside, most of the points are pushed towards the center. As a result, my curve will become taller in the center. Can all these things happen? Definitely happen, right? And that's why I give a nickname to this process, a giraffe process. A giraffe process is doubly capable. Statistically, this is Six Sigma process. Its success rate will be 99.999. And now to understand, to test your understanding, I am showing a process here in my slide. Tell me, what is this process? Is it an elephant or a giraffe?
Elephant, sir.
Okay. Statistically, what is the sigma level?
3 sigma.
Oh, very good. Beautiful. And now tell me what kind of success rate I can expect from a 3 sigma process.
99.73.
Very good. And 99.73 comes from a standard normal distribution table for a Z score of 3. I will teach this separately, right? Don't worry about it. For a Z score of 3, 99.73. And now tell me, this success rate is short-term success or long-term success?
Short term, sir.
Short-term. That means long-term, it can drop to 80, it can drop to 70, it can drop to 60. Depending on the kind of damage, kind of deterioration your process is undergo, what you see as 99.73 can become 60 or 70 in the future. And so, anticipating the future demand, I understand this capability is not sufficient. Now I have improved the process. What do I mean by improving the process? Push your control limit inside. How can I push the control limit inside? By reducing the standard deviation. Can you see your control limit is pushed inside, right? And now your control limit is here. And now tell me, what is this process? Elephant or giraffe?
Giraffe.
Statistically, what is the sigma level?
6 sigma.
Very good. And tell me the success rate of a Six Sigma process.
99.99.
99.999. And this 99.999 is obtained using a judge score of 4.5, not judge score of 6. Actually, your judge score is 6 here, but purposely we are using 4.5. After reducing the judge score, still I am getting a success rate of 99.999. And so this success rate is long term. This success rate is long term. And now, when my process is, when my study is one-tailed, what is one-tailed? Customer is checking my specification only on one side, right? For example, your exam mark. If your exam mark is less than 60, that is only that is problematic. More than 60 is not at all a problem. So study can be one-tailed, study can be two-tailed. And if it is one-tailed, that all your rejection will be on one side only, not both sides. And that time your the success rate will become 99.99966%. It is for the one-tailed test, you get this number. This is what I told you in the morning. I will explain you, right? Now, if your success rate is this much, your failure rate is only 3.4 DPMO. Suppose if your study is two-tailed, that means right side also problem, left side also problem, right? And under such situation, your success rate will be 99.999,320. Hope all of you have understood this particular slide.
Yes.
So that means if your process standard deviation is too much, it is very hard to produce output meeting customer requirement. Your sigma levels will be low. Your success rate will be low. Your defects will be high. On the other hand, if you reduce the standard deviation, your process will become taller in the center. Make your process look like this, look like a giraffe. Virtually everything you produce will meet the customer requirement. That means your sigma levels will be in the order of 4.5 to 6. That means your success rate will be closer to 100%. That means your rejections will be very, very rare. We call it DPMO, very low. This is called Six Sigma way of problem solving. A practical problem or a real-time problem is converted into a statistical problem, and for the statistical problem, a statistical solution is arrived. What is statistical problem? Higher standard deviation, average not on the target. These are called statistical problem. How can you reduce standard deviation? Ola, what they did to reduce standard deviation? They attached more car, they trained their drivers, they maintained their cars neat and clean and always in a running condition. All of them, helped them reduce the standard deviation. Same way, you can also do whatever required to be done to reduce the standard deviation and to move the center, to lie on the target. If you make both these things happen, you solved the problem. So your real-time problem is solved in a statistical way. This is called Six Sigma way of problem solving. Here, any problem, when you solve properly, solution is guaranteed. Success is frequent, failure is rare. Other method, success is rare, failure is frequent. And that is why I always say it is a superior methodology. It will not let you down, never, if understood, and implemented properly. So, that is why we are going to train you on each and every phase, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And most importantly, we will train you on each and every step inside the phase. The problem is considered to be defined if you find a way to measure the problem. For Ola, we have measured the problem by measuring the car arriving time. Same way, any problem, you should be able to measure it. If your answer is yes, you have defined it. And then go to the measure. Then only you should go to the measure. And now you have to measure without error. Measure without sampling error, measure without measurement error. And that's important. And then only your data is worthy for analysis. And analysis, I want to identify the root cause. Not only identify the root cause, I want to validate the root cause. You can find the criminal, but you have to prove the crime. Then only you will be punished. Same way, you can find the root cause, but you have to prove it. Then only people around you will believe and will allow you to make changes in the organization, right? And that's what we are trying to do in the analysis. Hypothesis testing, correlation, regression plays an important role during the analysis phase. Will equip you adequately. And then if you define the problem, measure the problem, and analyze the process for the root cause, solution will automatically evolve. We'll still teach you certain tools and techniques to gain the consensus while arriving on a solution and to prioritize the solution, and all that will happen in the improve phase. And finally, in the control phase, We expect you to control the critical factor, nothing but the root causes. See your maturity level. You started talking about the problem, that which is a Y variable, and towards the closer of the project, you started talking about the X variable because you understood few of the X factors are critical. You started monitoring it in a control chart and you started creating a control plan. This is what you are expected to do in the control phase. And this is how Six Sigma methodology makes anyone really matured in his profession, right? And these are the steps. I'm not going to read it out. The